Hot Hardware is back on TechVi. Dave Altavilla and Marco Chiappetta return to talk about Intel and Micron's latest innovation, an affordable gaming laptop from Alienware, the Apple iPad, and the Nvidia GF100.
Try GoToMeeting free for 30 days. Visit gotomeeting.com/techpodcasts.
So Dave, Intel and Micron are working together on some new NAND Flash. What's the news on this?
Yeah, it's actually, it's a little bit on the geeky side to talk about process technology and semiconductors, but it makes a big difference on the consumer side of things and the product the end product that's produced. And so, yeah, Intel and Micron, or IMFT, Intel Micron Flash Technology Group, is a collaboration between the two companies that is targeted at developing next generation NAND Flash technologies for things like flash cards and SSDs. And what they've come up with is a new 25 nanometer, bleeding edge 25 nanometer semiconductor process technology that allows, basically addresses two critical issues relative to solid state storage, and that is density and cost. So real good breakthrough there, and going after the kind of what really are the limiting factors for consumer-based solid state storage.
So with this new partnership, are they coming out with anything soon? What's the timetable on the release of this thing?
Yeah, they're talking 2010, so first half 2010 release. I'm sorry, excuse me, towards the end of 2010, so second half 2010.
Okay.
And what we're talking about here is 25 nanometer process technology, which previously the smallest die geometries we could see on NAND Flash was 34 nanometer. So it's roughly about a 35% reduction in die geometries. But when you talk about how that affects on a wafer level the number of die and the density of chip you can get out of a single chip, it's pretty amazing. They're able to produce now an 8 gig MLC NAND Flash device on a single chip, 8 gigs of storage. So pretty amazing stuff.
That's some pretty amazing stuff. That does sound pretty interesting. Marco, I'm hearing that Alienware also has something interesting going on, an affordable laptop that's a gaming machine. Now, when people say affordable on a gaming machine, they usually start cringing because that means it's going to be underpowered. What makes this laptop special?
So there's a couple things that make it special. First is the form factor. It's an 11-inch notebook, but it's got nice full-size keys. It's got a lighted keyboard, discrete GPU, so it's perfectly capable for gaming, and it's built around Intel's processors. It's basically just a shrink of Alienware's M17, just in an 11-inch form factor. It's a really beautiful machine.
What kind of resolution is it running? I mean, if it's only 11 inches, I don't know if you can do a full 1920 by 1080, or what exactly is the resolution on this device?
Right, it's a 1366 by 768, so it is a widescreen format. Not ultra high res, but with an 11-inch screen, you can't have too many pixels on there.
What's the price actually? It's affordable. So what's the big hook on this one?
Right, this is what's really cool. Considering the power and the design, it's really affordable at $800 on up. It's not on Alienware's site yet to purchase. It's going to be released in a few weeks, but at that price, it's basically a steal for an Alienware machine.
Only $800 for an Alienware?
Well, 800 on up, so a decently
configured
off
machine. At $800. So that means you guys can probably rack that thing up to $3,000 if you choose.
I'm sure there's going to be options to do that.
Dave, the mobile computing market's about to get shaken up with the Apple iPad. What's your take on this? Not a netbook, not a mobile phone, in the middle device. I mean, it's kind of a crossover thing without a home. What do you think about this thing?
Yeah, poor Apple. I hate even to go there again. They've taken such a beating in the press with this thing. But, guess what? They had the world's ear when they, announced this press conference that they were, going to be unveiling a new technology. And everybody knew it was the iPad, this new tablet from Apple. But, boy, they missed the mark. We really feel, you identified, you weren't quite sure what it is. It's a sort of an in-between device. Sean Oliver on our site, he put up an article entitled "The iPad's Identity Crisis," and really, that's what it is. It's not quite enough of one thing or the other. Some serious limitations with the device. It's a traditional Apple, sort of closed system approach. There's no universal connector on there that everybody can relate to, like USB. There's not even a flash card reader. The battery's not replaceable. Storage on it isn't upgradable. You've got 64 gig max of flash storage, which is a pretty good density. It's pretty good capacity. But from a hardware standpoint, it's very limited in terms of its expandability and I/O connectivity. From a software standpoint, and we've got an article up on the site as well that talks about Apple's app approach to software, which really was a carryover from the iPhone, with the iPhone OS, essentially an expanded iPhone OS that's run on this iPad device. That again limits you and closes off your options in terms of what you can install in this thing. You have to go to Apple's App Store, and who would think in their right mind, if you had a netbook or a notebook or perhaps even a standard tablet PC that's running some stripped down version of Windows or maybe Droid OS, who would think that you'd have to go back to the manufacturer to get any of your software and they'd have to approve it? It's just now Apple is taking a device that really competes on the level with notebooks and netbooks and other tablet PC-like devices. It's not a phone. So the long and short of it is the App Store is a phone-like software model, and it's just not going to fly on a tablet PC.
Well, what do you think about the A4 in there? I mean, Apple went ahead and is using their own tech this time. They're not relying on Samsung to make the processor. I think they make the iPhone processor. They're not using Intel either. What do you think about this move?
Right. Well, the A4 is an interesting device, and it's actually an ARM core derivative that Apple chose. But you need to, obviously, you take this core IP from ARM Technologies, and you need to build around it things like graphics blocks and other peripherals to enable a full system on a chip-like design. That's the model of ARM. Interesting processor, very competitive in terms of low-power tablet CPUs. Not revolutionary in terms of how it was built, but you got to hand it to Apple. They've got some pretty smart architects out there, and that thing delivers 10 hours of HD video battery life. It's pretty impressive. So we applaud them for that.
Marco, let's talk graphics here. HotHardware has all the details on the Nvidia GF100. Why don't you tell the people about this? What's exciting about this? Why is this a big deal?
So what's exciting is that NVIDIA finally revealed some of the gaming specs related to their upcoming Fermi GPU architecture. For the last few months, we've been hearing a lot about the compute performance of the GPU and not a lot about what it's going to do for gamers. So we still don't have hardware, but out at CES, we got a nice deep dive briefing that explained a lot of the gamer-oriented features of GF100. It's basically going to be more powerful than two GTX 285s linked together in SLI. It's going to be a super powerful GPU.
So this thing is going to be able to run some serious games we're talking about. Is there a game out there that can break this yet?
Well, we can't really say. So here's the thing. On paper, the architecture looks very powerful, but it's up to NVIDIA to see what kind of clock speeds they can hit and how they deliver final retail product. So if they're able to hit decent clock speeds and yields are okay on a GPU this size, it's a 3 billion transistor GPU, then yeah, it's going to be super powerful. It's probably going to outpace a Radeon 5870, not quite catch the 5970. But yeah, there's no games out there today that are going to tax it, should it ship sometime soon.
So this is a challenge out there to the game developers right now. You got to beat this thing up. Because this thing's got to be old tech. I would imagine in about 3 months there'll be something more amazing. That's just the way of the graphics cards there is. Dave, there's a contest going on HotHardware right now, and I think there's one coming up. Could you fill the people in on this?
Sure, yeah. Actually, we're just closing off the final day of our HotHardware and Origin New Year's sweepstakes. It ended actually yesterday, January 31st. So the folks, you've missed out on this one. But every month we give away a new PC, a new gaming rig. And today it was Origin PC, Origin Systems, that has collaborated with us. They're former Alienware executives that started up this new gaming PC company, Boutique PC. And it's a pretty impressive system. Stop by the site, take a look, and stay tuned for next month's contest.
You can find out all about the stuff we talked about at HotHardware.com. Marco Chiappetta, Managing Editor at HotHardware. Thanks for being here. And Dave Altavilla, Editor-in-Chief. Thanks for showing up. And remember, people, you can find TechVi everywhere, including Blip, YouTube. You can probably play it on the iPad, even though Dave hates it. So that's all for now. We'll see you guys later.